we have on with us Joshua Scott. He is running for California's 32nd district. Yes, the 32nd district. Joshua Scott is a Californian. He resides in Los Angeles County, a liberal part, or more, shall I say, more liberal part of our state. Maybe not the liberalist part of our state. Nonetheless, I want to go on to a little bit about him. He holds a bachelor's degree from Cal State Long Beach. I will say that my father also went to Cal State Long Beach. He also worked in the legal field for some time. And, you know, this is interesting about Joshua. Okay? He shares a little bit about his drive and run for office, but he really doesn't go into too much. So I really want to let you get to know the true Joshua Scott. Thank you for coming on the Erin Cruz Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Erin.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So tell us about you. I mean, people can go to your website. They can learn everything about Joshua Scott, your platform, everything that you stand for. But I want them to get to know the real you. So can you shed some light onto your background and what brought you to where you are right now?
Right. So I am the youngest candidate in the nation. So, you know, I obviously got started at a very young age. It all started when I was going to Cal State Long Beach, like you said, and I was a political science major with an emphasis on law and policy. So I was right there in the middle of all of the liberal happenings on campus. I saw it all firsthand. And being in the political science department, you really do see not just a liberal sentiment, but an anti-American sentiment. And that was kind of the thing that really drove the idea home for me, that I was going to have to get involved at a young age. Also, there's an incredible anti-Israel sentiment on basically every college campus, and it's so extreme and unfortunate. And so after I graduated from college, I wanted to get myself educated, become immersed in the things that I believe in. So I went to Tel Aviv, Israel, and I got a job as an intelligence analyst at a geopolitical risk consulting firm. And I got to work very, very close in international affairs. I was composing time-sensitive reports containing tactical intelligence to different corporations around the world, basically explaining what was going on both internationally and locally in the areas that they ran their businesses. And it was an incredibly eye-opening experience because while I was living there, I was a part of a program called Masa Israel Journey, where on the times where I wasn't working, we were touring the country. We were meeting with local Jewish villages. We were meeting with local Arab villages, meeting with the CEOs of the tech industry, meeting with government officials. So it was really, really educational and really, really inspiring for me, especially when I got. Yeah, absolutely.
Hands-on, immersed, so to speak, in the kind of the political, experience that we see very removed via the filter of the media.
Absolutely. And then when I returned to the United States, it really dawned on me that, the left that we deal with here is the same opposition left that they deal with over there. Us American patriots and those who feel strongly over in Israel, we're kind of dealt with this opposition that is not really putting forth their own platform of ideologies, but it's a platform of delegitimization, hatred, and undermining what we believe in, as opposed to showing what they truly believe in. And that's why I know how important it is for me to fight for my American values and the other things that I feel so strongly about. And so when I got here, I started working for Dr. Ken Wright's campaign, who's running over in the 33rd district against far-left Democrat Ted Lieu. And the thing that really got me with him is that he is a supporter of Linda Sarsour. You can look on his Twitter and you see that.
Let's be clear. Ted Lieu is a supporter of Linda Sarsour. I just want to make sure that there's a clarity there, because Dr. Ken Wright, I'm very much in support of both him as a person and his campaign to hold office in the United States Congress, and I just want to make that clarity.
Right, yeah, you can see on Twitter there was Ted Lieu actually presented Linda Sarsour with the 2017 Changemaker Award. And as most of us know, she's a supporter of Hamas, she's a supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood, and has lots of ties to terrorist organizations. And
really, everything
in my opinion,
that's against what Americans stand, what most Americans stand for.
Exactly. It's not necessarily a difference of political ideologies of me, wanting to get involved and just be a conservative here on the Republican side. It's, here fighting for my country and the values that we represent at such a vital time.
It is. It's so important. I want to go into a little bit about, I mean, you talked about what brought you to this space, and it's part of the work that you did overseas. But on your bio, and then when you delve into your website, you talk about big money interests. How does that all tie in? Because it seemed to be something that was prevalent through your website that I was reading. Um, are you talking about lobbyists? Are you talking about multinational corporations? Or what were you talking about there on your website?
Well, what I mean is that you see so many of these career politicians on both
Okay.
sides that are pretty much bought out by all of the big money that goes into their campaign, whether it's PACs, lobbyists, or multinational corporations. So when we're out here hoping for immigration reform and proper health care, proper tax reform, even with the Republican majority, we're struggling to get these necessary policies because people are more concerned about their next election and how much money is going to be coming into their campaign. And not only do we need strong Republicans on the ticket, but we need people that are going to fight for America First values, and it's so necessary right now. And while I was working with Dr. Wright's campaign, we were at the candidates convention in San Diego. It was exactly 1 month before the primary, or before, yeah, exactly before the primary. And someone told me, they said, hey, District 32 does not have a Republican on the ballot. And I thought that was incredibly unfortunate. And, a few months prior, I even thought, hey, maybe I could get involved running for high office. But it turned out I was too young because the candidate filing deadline was, I believe, March 9th. And I didn't turn 25 until March 20th, which is the age that you must be to run for United States Congress. So I wasn't really sure how we could work this all out. And then it was presented to me that I could run as a qualified write-in candidate in the primary. And if you make it into the top two, you are on the ballot for the November general election.
Right.
So once I found this, I immediately went and got my qualification papers from the registrar. I filled out the paperwork. I got my 40 to 60 signatures. And while I was obtaining those signatures, it was an incredible experience because of the positive reception that I received from those in the community of the 32nd District. I didn't necessarily go up to people saying, hey, I'm a Republican, we need to get me elected. I said, hey, you deserve a choice. The people of the 32nd District don't have a choice right now. You have an incumbent candidate who's been in Congress for over 20 years, and they don't, these career politicians don't hold your best interests. I'd be the youngest candidate in the nation. I believe in America. Help me out and give me a chance right now. And I had people of all different backgrounds and political ideologies supporting me through that process, and it was absolutely amazing. And then in order
Sounds
to...
that way. It sounds
Yeah.
that way. And so, but I mean, it's good for people to understand your background is strong in the sense that you may be young in age, and look youthful, but you do have a level of experience which has exposed you to certain elements of life. And I've known you through Dr. Ken Wright, and I've met you with you. You have a little head on your shoulders, which I have to tell you, even the most senior of officials who are in the United States Congress don't have that. Say it, but it's true. You do. You have a sense of responsibility about you, and a love for country, and which is endearing, and it's also important. And when I talked about that big government, and I was asking you about the lobbyists, people want to know what's going to take place when you get into office. Politicians always make promises, empty promises, and then the people have big dreams and hopes. Right now, the people need solutions. We have a lot of problems. With problems, we need solutions. The big government, the big interests, the lobby, the multinational corporations which are taking advantage, and the politicians who are taking advantage, somebody has to put their foot down. Where do you stand on holding these different interests accountable when you get into the United States House of Representatives? Because there are multiple ways which you will be able to impact all areas of what I'm talking about, as you know. And I guess my question is to you, are you going to be like an Obama, which said no lobby, no lobby, no lobby, no, yet he encouraged the most robust lobby there was, really? He is a lobbyist. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go with this? And how will you make an impact?
Well, look, I'm not saying we need to go around, changing all of these laws and how people can contribute to campaigns. People, you do need money to run a campaign, so I'm not going to go out and judge anyone by working with big organizations. But at the same time, we do need to be transparent. We do need to know what's going on in the background of these campaigns' experiences, and it's just important that the voters and the constituents are aware of where people stand, and they're held accountable when they're elected to office. You see, in the House of Representatives, it's a 2-year term. So as soon as you elect someone to office, the people need to be engaged, and they need to be kept abreast of what's going on. And the transparency really is so important right now. So it's not necessarily that we need to be going around and changing all of these laws, but what we do need is civic engagement, people going after and expressing their civic virtues and getting involved and holding their local representatives accountable, because that's the only way in the republic that we have that we can go out and get things done in the way that we need them done.
Right. Now, where do you stand on term limits?
I do believe in term limits, because it seems like the politicians that we're also annoyed with these days are the ones that have been around the longest, and the longer you're around, you kind of become more and more immersed in the DC happenings, if you will. And yeah, that really is an issue. I'm not going to sit here and say one or two terms. That needs to be the definite solution to the whole career politician problem that we have. But I would absolutely support some sort of term limits going forward in the legislative branch.
Right. I always thought, I ran for United States Senate, and I'm running again for United States Senate in 2022. I always thought a respective term would be 12 years for the United States House of Representatives, and then a little bit more for the United States Senate. And people don't understand, because there's a seniority issue, there are different committees people are on, and this sort of thing. But the idea is that it's not an open-ended book. It's
Correct.
not a lifetime position. And that you're willing. It's good to hear that you're willing to look at term limits and vote on such a policy.
Absolutely.
Now, immigration reform. That's a hot topic here, especially in the state of California. It's been a point of contention where the media is concerned. They want to divide. And politicians, again, they make big promises and nobody really takes action. They haven't taken action in a very, very long time. Where do you stand on funding and building a wall, enforcement? And you also mentioned a pathway to citizenship in your website. So I wanted to ask you, could you please talk about that a little bit?
Right. So in California and all the other southern states, border security is an absolute, definite necessity for us moving forward, not just for the safety of our citizens, but for our economy and so much more. And what we need to do is if someone's interested in the illegal entries that are coming into the United States.
Which has been an ongoing issue. It's
been an ongoing issue for decades, and it's not just people. It's not about keeping different cultures out of the United States and preserving, whatever the leftists think that we're trying to do. What it's about is out of the United States, keeping drugs out of the United States, and keeping weapons out of the United States. You see, people talking about all the gun problems in the United States, and one thing they don't want to do is implement border security, which will, withhold so many illegal weapons coming across the border. And so border security is absolutely vital right now. And with border security, then we can start strictly enforcing our immigration policies here in these local states. Sanctuary cities are an absolute disgrace, and the politicians that support them are doing so just to exploit those immigrant communities that they want to get votes from, sadly, because they know that's the only way that they can hold office. Immigration laws to keep American citizens safe. And I do believe that a pathway for people to come to the United States, to live the American dream, to provide an education for their family and live a quality life. But first, we need to fix our problems before we can move forward on these issues. Right.
Well, my concern, I'm a from where I stand, just as a citizen and as a constituent of, say, Senator Dianne Feinstein, who I have to decide who I'm going to vote for United States Senate in the general.
It's going to be a tough one.
Oh, goodness. Where I'm sitting, we think about what happened under Ronald Reagan, and they did a form of amnesty, if you will. But they also didn't follow through on some of the things that they had talked about doing, which would have prevented the issues that we're seeing today. I guess you would call it kicking the can now. So we've been kicking the can for a very long time, and right now we're at the point where we need solutions. And the people who are here in the country, they want answers. How do we deal with the problem? We have a lot of problems. We need those solutions. So when you talk about offering a pathway to citizenship, are you talking about people who are coming here or the people who are currently here? And how would you like to try to work forward to address that? It may be solved by the time you get into office in January, if or when you're elected. But what are the kinds of policies that you would like to see put in place to help that initiative? Or would you not move forward on voting on anything until the wall is funded and immigration is enforced? I guess what I'm wanting to know is, are you for blanket amnesty for the people who are already here, or are you a progressive state where you really want to see that some of these other back solutions done, like building the wall, like actual enforcement, getting criminal aliens out, and other things before you talk about pathway to citizenship?
Right,
because it's a big issue.
You're right. The reform, the enforcement, and border security, building a wall are probably the things that need to happen first before we can go about implementing other policies for the future in regards to immigration. Mm-hmm. I am absolutely for Kate's Law. I think anyone that is a violent criminal, a felon, or has any other serious offenses does not have a place in this country, especially if they entered illegally. And I am absolutely not for a blanket amnesty, but at the same time, I know personally some people who've been here their whole lives, who have who consider themselves American, and so that in that regard, like I said, there could be a pathway to residency or citizenship for some people who could find themselves in unfortunate circumstances. But at the same time, we do need to start enforcing our laws, especially getting tough on crime and making it so that the city of Los Angeles is actually safe for you and I and the rest of our families. Because, as you know, Los Angeles is a sanctuary city, and these politicians want it to remain a sanctuary city just so they can keep getting their votes from the communities that they love to exploit. Meanwhile, we're finding on a regular basis, all these criminals that have been deported several times committing crimes. I spoke at an event at the Mountain View Republican Club out in Claremont last night, and there I co-spoke with an ICE agent who explains the actual operations of how they go about their business. And there's no raids, there's no going after these families. The way they operate. Media
hype. All the media hype is baloney. I mean, they really do have a systematic process by which they have to operate.
Correct. I'm absolutely with you.
So, I did hear this answer a little bit sooner, but I would like to make sure that you communicate where you stand. Do you support President Trump on his America First agenda?
Absolutely. I voted for President Trump, and I support just about all of his fiscal, social, and international policies. America First is so vital to us right now because we've been, our GDP is so many incredibly times higher than all these other countries combined, yet our trade deals are incredibly unfair. It's absolutely vital that we take care of our American citizens. We keep our taxes low. We incentivize our corporations to stay in America. We implement immigration reform that allows our federal dollars to go towards taking care of our citizens and making our lives better. I'm sure you know this. In California alone, we spend $25 billion per year towards illegal immigrants, and the California legislature just recently approved a $10 million bonus in the budget to support Medicaid for illegal immigrants. So
I like to call them illegal aliens because that's really what they are.
Right, and so those are the types of things that an America First policy will go towards. It's not that, we're just going to isolate ourselves from the rest of the world, but we need our 330, 350 million citizens to be taken care of and have an opportunity to live the American dream, which, it's not easy right now.
It is difficult, and especially being in LA, I don't live in LA County, I live in Riverside County. But being in LA, you see it all the time. You see the homeless, you see the veterans, you see the mentally ill, and the struggle that's really, really, it's very real. And people in a really tough space, living out of their cars, living in tents, being on the streets and everything else, and yet, we're bringing massive amounts of people here. We're allowing massive amounts of people here from even other states brought in who are illegals and funding it. Provide for them in ways that we don't seem to be providing for our own people. And that is a big concern. It's a concern of many citizens here. And it's not about race or anything else. It's just about law, rule of law, enforcing laws, and everything, everything about that. Now, I just commend you. I want to say this out loud. Thank you so much for running for office. It's a huge task. It's a large responsibility. And to see you so excited about being able to serve your country, it's just amazing to me. And it's inspiring as well. I love this country. And to see people like you, your age, so willing to put themselves out there, it's unbelievable. What has been the feedback from your family members and the people close to you about your run? Are they supportive?
Oh my goodness, it's been absolutely amazing. My family, my friends, the local communities in the 32nd district. I have to admit I was a little bit nervous going into it, being this 25-year-old approaching people saying, "Hi, I need you to vote for me for United States Congress." But the reception has been so incredibly amazing. The Assembly District Central Committee that's out in the Congressional District, they've taken me right in, and we all work together at a headquarters in Covina. Our office is the East San Gabriel Valley Republican Center. And let me just tell you, each day we are in that office, and people will just come walking into the office off the street, not knowing who I am, and they'll just say, "Hey, I am a disgruntled citizen. I see you guys have a Republican office right here. What can I do? What can we do right now? I want to keep taxes lowered. I want immigration reform." Just the other day, we had a man who immigrated from Puerto Rico come into the office to re-register to vote. We had a man who immigrated from Cuba come into the office and show me a picture of the shoes that he was wearing when he got here on the ship from Cuba. We had someone come in who had been a registered Democrat their whole life come in to re-register to vote Republican. Mm-hmm. So the reception I've received so far has been, I can't even begin to tell you how incredible.
So you're seeing walk-away people too.
Oh my goodness, on a literally on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, that's heartwarming, and it's real.
It's very real. They like to say on social media that it's a Russian bot campaign, but let me tell you from firsthand experience, the walk-away campaign is very, very real.
It is real because I believe that the progressive left it has taken over the Democrat Party and become this loud voice within a movement, and the general Democrat, if you will, they don't want all these wild ideas. They want to live a good life. Many of them have businesses, want good things for their family. This nonsense that's going on just doesn't resonate with them and everything that they stand for, many things that they stand for. And so I'm glad to see that they're standing up, they're speaking out, and they're walking away. And quite frankly, it says a lot to the future of our nation, because what we've seen is a lot of people too quiet for too long. And I believe that's what's gotten us into the mess that we're in. And people just need to speak with one another. And I'm also very glad to hear that you're working, that you're out there in the campaign office, that you're approachable by the constituents, because people need to see you. They need to speak with you. They need to meet you. That's something that's also been missing for a very long time. I've never been able to get a hold of my representative, Senator Dianne Feinstein. Even Boxer, when she was office, I wrote them letters and would rarely get anything back. And I know they have a lot of constituents, but to be able to approach someone is so important, especially with the situation where we're at right now, where so many are in need. So that's wonderful. Now, I want to ask you, Joshua, if you could please repeat your name. Tell us a little bit, just like 2 minutes, about your platform, where you're coming from, and then also where people can find out more about your campaign, where they can volunteer, where they can contribute to your campaign, because you're going to need financial support. Please provide them all of that information.
Right, my name is Joshua Scott, and I am the Republican nominee of California's 32nd District. I am the youngest candidate in the nation, and I am here to essentially provide the people with a choice, because like I said, just a few short months ago, so many of these tens of thousands of proud Republicans in the 32nd District did not have a voice, they did not have a choice, and that is what I'm here to do. I'm providing these American patriots with a platform to express their voice. These people that want to keep their taxes lower, they want to see immigration reform, so we can use these federal and state dollars to help our veterans, to help our homeless, to repair our infrastructure. There's so many things that Americans can benefit from to really just have an amazing future going forward, and I really do believe in it. If you want to learn more, you can follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Joshua Scott CA-32. You can go on our website at votejoshuascott.org. There is a donation link. There is a volunteer link. You can indicate what you want to do. You can say, hey, I want a precinct walk. Hey, I want to make phone calls. Or you can shoot me an email and say, hey, I want to come into the office and hang out with you at noon on Tuesday, because, me and my manager and my team, we come in, we buy donuts and coffee, we invite people in to come talk to us. It's an incredible atmosphere. We have lots of cool little American paraphernalia and trinkets in the office that you can purchase from the center. It's a really amazing place. I absolutely love the local community in the 32nd District, and I can't wait to be meeting more people and working insanely hard going forward so we can make this happen and make some real changes here in Los Angeles County, as you know, is so necessary.
It is so necessary. Well, I want to thank you, Joshua Scott, for coming on the show. We are going to make sure and invite you back for a future episode of the Erin Cruz Show, so you can give us an update and a recap of where you've been since now up till then, and we can help give the people more information about what you're doing in your campaign and how they can get connected up through November, all right?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Erin Cruz Show, visit us online at erincruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com.